This is Corey Jones with the Be Ready with Safety Man podcast. Join us every week for a new podcast. Follow us everywhere podcasts are played and on YouTube, Be Ready with Safety Man. This is Corey Jones. All right, welcome to Be Ready with Safety Man podcast. Be Ready with Safety Man anywhere podcasts are played. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Also, check me out on Be Ready with Safety Man on RVN TV, Radio Vision Network.tv, RVNTV.tv. Also on YouTube, Be Ready with Safety Man, safetyman.co. Today I'm talking with a former guest, good friend, Anthony Sicali. We've talked about a whole bunch of different things to keep you safe, and today we're going to talk about bugging out, being a prepper, and because it's Halloween's, you want to be ready for that zombie apocalypse, whether it's real or whether it's fake. BeReady.gov, the government actually said, while we don't necessarily believe in the zombie apocalypse, if you as a prepper are ready for that, you're ready for anything. So be ready. Anthony, welcome.
Hey, welcome.
So tell me about what's been going on and what we got to talk about today.
Yeah, so a couple good movies came out. It's Halloween coming up, and I just checked out Zombieland 2, which I liked, and I thought, you know what, this would be a fun podcast to talk about, with I already have a bug out bag, and I thought, you know what, if a zombie attack did happen, would I be ready? Would I be ready for it?
Yeah, well, would you?
Yeah, so I brought my bug out bag here.
I see.
Yes, so if people don't know what a bug out bag is, it's something that I recommend that, everyone have something. It doesn't have to be as extreme as mine is, but it's a bug out bag is something that you could survive off of for about 72 hours in one bag. Like mine's all in one book bag. And you might think, okay, that's crazy, zombies aren't real. Yeah. But you know what are real are floods, tornadoes, natural disasters.
Exactly.
And if you got to get up and go, being prepared to have some stuff to just get you through a night, at minimum, like getting you through a night or a day, makes a big decision. My goal was being able to survive for 72 hours, and so that's why I call my 72-hour bug out bag. But, just in case the apocalypse hits, I'm prepared. So I brought my bag, thought I'd talk about some things in there as well.
So let me ask you a couple of questions. A lot of people ask me about this stuff, and they Google it, and they see these 72-hour bags that they find on Amazon and so forth, and the things that are in there aren't personalized, right? They're just mass-produced. Mm-hmm. They're in there. What are your thoughts on that? Is it something you think that a person should take time, effort, and energy and put things that are going to be useful to them in their situation with their family, or can they just trust something that they see online?
So a little bit of both, because I actually started mine with one of those bags, and that was like the base of how I started. And it wasn't too expensive. I think I paid like $40 or $50, and it came with a book bag and some like real basic stuff. And then I just, as the year's going on, I go through it probably about once a year just to check, make sure stuff's up to date. Yeah. And I've added, I come up with an idea and I think about something, and I try to add it in there. So one of the cool things about in Zombieland, if you've ever seen it, he has all the rules of survival. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
And so he has more in Zombieland too, but some are like really, some are stupid, or whatever. But some
spoiler alert or no?
I'm not gonna spoil anything. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna give because there's some good spoilers and I don't want to give away. But,
okay, cool.
I'm definitely a fan, so I don't want to give away too much of that. But so he's got some good stuff in there. And one of them was carry a multi-tool. Okay. And so that's something that doesn't come in like a lot of those basic kits. So like one thing I carry is just pliers and a screwdriver and a basic multi-tool.
Kind of like a Gerber or one of those things?
Or an intense Swiss Army knife with all the added features on there or whatnot. So that's one of the things that he put in there, that carry multi-tool was one of his rules. So I wrote down I looked over his full set of rules, and I was like, there's a couple going. Some are some are stupid, but
some are Hollywood, some are real, right?
Yeah, but some of them they are real. And travel. Oh, that's where I was getting with this. Travel light is one of his topics.
Yeah.
So my opinion is, if you can't fit it in a book bag, you probably don't need it. For the most part. You don't got to pack up everything. It's just something that you throw on your back and move and go.
So I can't take my Xbox.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, you don't need an Xbox because guess what? Power's probably going to be down, especially in this area. Power usually goes down when there's a storm or, we have a flood. A lot of places around here, power goes down. And so travel light, that is definitely a rule that I stick by. So if you can't get it into at least a book bag, it's probably too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the first things? Like if one of your friends, family, somebody comes up to you and say, Anthony, I need help starting my bug out bag. I only got about $20-$30 to spend right now. Because what I found is if you tell somebody all this stuff, it comes a couple, maybe $100 or so.
Yeah, yeah.
And people don't have that exposable income. So
Yeah.
the first 3 or 4 or 5 things you're going to put in there.
Okay, so here is top commodities. If it's the end of the world, zombie apocalypse, for the most part, money is not going to matter.
Okay.
The things that will matter: water, food, ammo.
Okay.
Those are going to be the things that are going to be the most resourceful, the most necessary, and they're going to be worth the most value.
Okay.
Especially water and food.
So you talk about like for being able to barter potentially.
Yeah, so I have, so one of the things I got are emergency purified drinking bags, and also the tablets. So you can buy them online, and they help, purify water. Because
So I can find like standing water, put those tablets in it, purify it, and drink it?
yeah, well, you have to boil them. There's a whole procedure,
Okay.
and so you would boil the water, and you use those tablets to boil the water with them. So that's that. The other thing is food that's not going to expire. So I have an MRE in my bag. I have somewhere's in here high protein bars that last for like 10 years, and they're probably disgusting. But if it's in a pinch.
Yeah, calories are calories.
Yeah,
right?
if it's in a pinch and you need to survive for a day, then some kind of high-calorie protein meals. I have these like little packets of protein meals and things like that.
Now, one thing I noticed that you're doing is you have everything in Ziploc bags.
Yeah, separate it.
Now, that's for separation and for water resistance?
Yes.
Okay.
So I try to keep some Ziploc bags in there so I can keep stuff separate, but also, like for example, I have matches.
Right.
Because a lighter or matches or something like that, you obviously want to keep that dry.
Okay.
So if it's a storm, it's a flood, okay, or a zombie apocalypse and there's blood everywhere, right? You want to keep your stuff dry. So Ziploc bags and keeping them together obviously would be a good thing to start with that. But definitely some kind of food to get you through a couple days. And if it's a bag that you're going to be using, or that you're checking every year, I mean, you could just update the food or whatever's in there.
Right, rotate it out, right?
But yeah, at least enough food to get you through like 2 days, I think is enough to start. And some water and a canteen.
Okay, so now what if I have a family and I'm bugging out with the wife and 2 kids?
Yeah, so some other things that I've included is just like personal things like toilet paper.
Yep. That's still going to be necessary.
Yeah.
Handy wipes?
Handy wipes, yeah, I have in here. What else we got in here? I don't know, there's so much stuff I got in here. If you're going to be with people, and let's say it is an emergency situation, I do have a medical bag that I keep with me. And that's
Excellent,
probably something really important, especially with your family, because you're not only looking after yourself, but other people. Some things I keep in there, we'll open that up.
Now, one of the things I told people is people get like painkillers prescribed, and they don't take them all. And unless you have somebody who has an addiction problem or something like that, I tell people to store their painkillers in a safe location for apocalypse, because you twist an ankle, you get a major injury.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
You're gonna that shot of whiskey on TV. That's Hollywood, right?
Yeah,
that doesn't
that's way
really do
Hollywood.
anything.
I carry a tourniquet. I carry just Band-Aids, emergency supplies, some tissues, another hand sanitizer, alcohol.
Absolutely.
So just some basic stuff in my first aid emergency kit.
So for the listeners, I'm looking at this guy's, I'm looking at Anthony's backpack, and he's actually got a lot of stuff in here. He's got it organized. He's got it in different bags that are water resistant, that he can take one bag out, and he's got the things that matter to each other in that bag. Like the water's separate, his med kit is separate. It's not all just jammed in there.
Yeah. So because, that way it's just all really easy functioning where I know where stuff is.
So tell people about this MRE. What's an MRE?
MREs are meals ready to eat, designed by the military for the most part. They are super high calorie meals. They're made not for taste, believe me. They are made for just getting you through a day or two on a ton of calories to get through your body. Super high cholesterol, super high sodium, just something to help you survive. And so I was going to do something a while back. I have like some cholesterol issues, and I had this idea that I saw something online. I was going to adapt. I was going to do a fundraiser where to support the military. We were going to do something where, and the month of November, I was going to do just survive off MREs till Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I talked to my doctor about it. He's like, that is the worst idea ever. Do not do that.
Yeah. He said no.
He said no, do not do that. My cholesterol's already shot. And I'm pretty much in shape, but I just have bad cholesterol that runs my family. So I have to watch what I eat.
So I'm looking at this MRE, and for the listeners, you can't see it obviously, but it says Department of Defense on it. It says warfighter recommended, warfighter tested, warfighter approved. And the menu in this one is menu number 5, chicken with tomatoes and feta cheese. It actually sounds like something I might order if I went out to a restaurant.
Yeah, but I guarantee this one does not taste like the one.
It's not going to be like Olive Garden?
No, I don't think it's going to be anything like Olive Garden.
Okay.
What else we got here? We got some ponchos, because it's probably going to be raining.
Yeah. Got to stay dry.
Emergency flashlight, and this doubles down as a crank.
Okay.
So you can actually, it's solar powered, and it has a mobile phone charger, a USB port, and an FM radio in it, and you just crank it so it's self-powered, so you don't have to worry about batteries.
Excellent.
So that one's cool. What else we got?
I see a road flare.
We got a road flare. It's good for starting fires too. People don't think that.
Or you could use it as fake dynamite to scare somebody away.
Or yes, for your zombies coming in, you can definitely use that. We got some. This is the food ration stuff I was telling you about. This is just like the super high calorie protein bar stuff.
Right.
It feels like a brick, so
Yeah,
it's
it does.
just.
It's probably going to come out the same way. I could just, like that one stand-up comedian said, I could just take this, throw it right in the toilet.
So that's just like some super high protein stuff just to like help you survive. Also, I have some walkie-talkies as well, just to if we get separated or there's other people in our groups or whatnot.
Yes.
One of the things that recommend in the zombie land movies is have a buddy system and use teamwork.
Yes.
So definitely you want to match up with your stronger people to help each other out, and especially when things get really bad, zombie apocalypse or whatnot, you want to be working hand in hand with people.
Definitely have a team, right?
Yeah, definitely have a team that you can rely on and say, okay, here's the game plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to work together, because trying to do everything on your own in a massive situation like that is probably not going to end well whatsoever.
So another big question I get when I'm talking about prepping is bug in or bug out?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by
Hunker down in your house, your office, wherever you are, or bug out and go, and then you kind of maybe have to pre-plan a destination of where you're going to go, right?
Yeah, so me and some friends that I work with, we actually have a bug out zone that we've like joked about, but at the same time we're kind of serious about. Like if this is where we would go, and it's a secluded place. So initially, my thoughts are like this: you don't want to be the guy, and this is something you could actually look up. I think post Katrina, when all the issues were going on with people trying to get gas, there was actually killings at the gas station. So trying to avoid the mass chaos in the beginning is probably bunker down at first. For the initial. If it's going to be something like a flood or something like that, obviously you want to get out right away.
Yeah.
But if you're talking war breaks out, you're talking zombie apocalypse, I would say bunker down for the initial phase, and then make a plan to move after that initial battle or whatever into a safe area. Because even if you watch movies and TV, who knows how realistic it is, but you always see people stuck on the freeway, right?
Yeah, always.
And
they're honking the horns and they're mad.
Yeah, and then something happens, they all die, right?
Yeah.
But that's realistically what would happen, right? Like everyone's going to try to go somewhere. Where are you going?
If you remember 9/11, on that afternoon, I was down in Gloucester County when that happened, and coming back, there was part of the freeway where it was standstill, but there was other parts where traffic was flowing smoothly. And a couple of things that I took from that, because people didn't know what was going to happen, was everybody was going to the ATM. Where I was, it was on a college campus, and everybody was going to an ATM to get cash out, which could be a run on the banks, which could create a problem or a panic.
Yeah.
And then people were just kind of like in a little bit of a daze. So one thing I would definitely tell our listeners is to have your head up, be on the swivel and just pay attention because people may be acting a little strangely,
Yeah,
a little more selfish.
especially for those initial things like water, food, gas, cash, like the things that people need to get through their day.
Yeah.
So I mean, that brings me to the next point. Probably want to have a little bit of cash on you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to tell you to store thousands of dollars in your house, but maybe $200 to get you through a couple days, or get you to a motel or something to at least get you through a day or two.
Right.
For the initial. Because obviously, if it's something where power's down, credit card machines aren't going to be useless. Your phone's probably going to die.
You mean Apple Pay probably won't work?
Yeah, so your Apple Pay during a zombie apocalypse is probably not going to work. They're probably not going to accept that, at least.
It's important. I hope people are paying attention to what we're saying right now because, you know, the generation now is so used to being able to do touchless pay and Apple Pay and Venmo and Cash App and all these different things, and that's gone. Your Wi-Fi is gone. Your GPS is gone.
That's
all those different things. So,
and I also got my compass in here. Speaking about GPS, I have a compass in here.
And I've even told people to get a map of the state that you live in, a map of the state, the next state over.
That's a good
actually
one.
Have a map. So most people don't know how to land nav, but you know, set your map down and figure out how can I get from point A to point B.
That is one I don't have. That's something. And you know what? It's hard to you got to get them offline because you used to be able to go in any gas station.
Yeah, and have a map.
And they would have the maps right on the side there. You used to be able to buy them for like $3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, like just thinking, I can't think of the last time I saw an actual physical map for sale.
Exactly.
You know, and that's something to think about, especially if you're going to be traveling. If that's your game plan is to move on.
The good thing about technology is you can download maps onto most of your smart devices, and then even if you lose a signal, as long as you have power to your smart device, your map will still be there. So you will be able to still scroll around on your map. But I would always recommend getting a hard copy because eventually that battery is going to die and you're not going to have access to that. And you know, would you also agree that tell your family, the people that are important to you, have a plan A and a plan B meetup location?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be some. Listen, I'm a little more intense than most people, so I have this whole bag, I have this whole situation, and like I said, it doesn't have to be some extreme situation like that I'm talking about. But just having a plan, like, hey, you know, if we ever lose power here, we're gonna meet at Aunt you know, whoever,
right.
uncle, whoever, that we're just gonna go to his house. He lives on a higher ground. And vice versa. Maybe if they have an issue, hey, you could always come here. So maybe just making contact with a family member and saying, hey, if we have a problem, would it be all right, you know, as an emergency situation to meet up here?
Yeah.
And that way, if phones go down, if stuff goes down, you know, okay, this is the meetup point. Or there's a flood and I can't get to my phone or I can't get to my Wi-Fi. Okay, we get out of the area, this is where we're going. And we just have a simple plan that this is the house or our friend's house or family that we're going to meet at. And I think that's very simple, you know, to have a plan in place. And it doesn't have to be extreme. Like, hey, if a zombie apocalypse breaks out and we're getting our faces eaten off here, you know, no, it just has to be, hey, power goes down, where do we go? You know, or something along those lines.
All right. I think the last time we talked about firearms safety, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So you said you want to have some ammunition.
Yes.
What's the weapon situation for people?
Well,
you and I are in a different category because we're authorized to carry firearms.
Yes.
You know, tasers, I don't know if taser will work against a zombie or not a zombie.
Well, we have to find out. Sales will go through the roof if they're working on zombies.
Exactly.
Sales will go through the roof.
Yeah, I tend to think that would work on a zombie.
Yeah, they blow them up or something, electrocute them.
Yeah, I tend to think it would. But, you know, blunt objects, crowbar I've always read is probably one of the better weapons because it's multi-use. Doesn't look like a weapon. You can always have it in your car. You're not going to get locked up for it. You know?
Yeah, just a safety thing too. But yeah, I mean, it's a multi-tool. If you're going to have a crowbar and you're going to be having to get in places or just for survival to break into a place to survive.
Yes.
And just so we're clear, this is an end of the world situation. We're not advising to break into people's houses here. They're like, I heard on SAFETYMAN to break in.
Yeah, you could break in a house with a crowbar.
But yeah, no, that's anything simple that you could carry if you don't have ammunition, if you don't have weapons. But the people that do have weapons in that situation they're going to be the people that are going to rise to the top and control right away.
So if you don't have a weapon, make friends with somebody who does, right?
Yes. Know who in your neighborhood does. On that side, a hunting knife is probably definitely. I keep one in my bag. Hunting knife for, you know, if you're going to be fishing, if you're going to be trying to kill wildlife, if it gets to that point, you want to have something on you to help you get through. So definitely a pocket knife or a hunting knife or fishing knife. Highly recommend that.
Yeah, and so people are binge watching on Netflix and Amazon, all these crazy shows. I would tell you, binge watch one of those survival shows, Bear Grylls or something else. Just, Man versus Wild. Just binge watch maybe 2 or 3 seasons of it. You'll be surprised at how much information you'll pick up about keeping warm, keeping dry, finding water, finding food, finding shelter in areas where you're not normally thinking about it. So, use that binge watching for something positive.
And also know your surroundings, like know where you live. Like, so for example, like where I live near water. So knowing how to fish, knowing where your fishing pole is, or so I have fishing wire and things like that in my bag as well. I don't have a whole fishing pole, but I have fishing wire and hooks in here because you could survive off that.
Right.
You could catch fish. You could survive off that. So knowing what's in your area, if there's different kinds of deer or something like that, knowing how to hunt for these things might be something to look down the road and say, hey, worst case scenario, how could I survive here if there was no ShopRite open 24/7? Or
Yeah, because
I
that's
can't
going
get
to
the
go
Acme, Because we live in this society where we're so used to that we can just walk down the street, go into the grocery store, and get anything we want.
Yeah, you can Uber food to your house.
Literally, they can deliver it to your house now. So, living in a world without that for even a week, people will go crazy.
Yeah.
The initial week of something going down like that would just be complete insanity because people would not know what to do at all.
Yeah.
And without some kind of plan. Speaking of which, going crazy. So, one thing.
Uh-oh. What are you reaching
Hold
for?
on. No, it's not bad.
I'm starting to get scared. He's reaching in these deep pockets
No, I
in his
got it,
bag
I got
over
it.
here. He just referred to the hunting knife.
So, one of the things you don't think about is downtime. So, I have a deck of cards.
Ah, yes.
And I have a book in here somewhere. I have a book that I had stashed down here somewhere. So a book and a deck of cards, just something because you're gonna have like downtime. You're gonna be in spots. So having a deck of cards and having a book or something to help your mind, pass some time. Definitely something I would put in my bug out bag as well.
That's important. That's definitely important. Is being able to pass the time.
Yeah. So a deck of cards is always good for that kind of stuff, and I'm a poker player too. So for me to not have some cards on me,
so you're not gonna be any fun to bug out with because you're gonna take all my stuff in a poker game.
You'll lose all your food and water and ammo.
You left me with one little bite-sized Snickers bar, and that's it. And that's it. So with kids, have you thought anything about like bugging out with kids?
I thought about it because I do have kids, and so I've thought about. So the only things that I didn't bring in here today, but I have them attached when they're at home. I have a sleeping bag. And I have it's basically a 2-man little camo tent that you can set up, and it's just attached to that as well. It's enough to fit me and 2 kids in there if I had to.
Right.
The only thing with them is I would say you would have to just grab as much food as possible. If whatever they could carry on their backs, book bags, and just stuff their book bags with food and water, and just go, as much as they possibly could carry.
Like candy, snacks, something. That's
Just
gonna keep
anything,
them
really.
fun.
Anything just to keep the passing the time, and some extra clothes or something in a bag.
Right.
Like you said, you don't need to pack the Xbox. You don't need to pack the video games, but maybe a book, maybe some toys, little toys they can play with,
Right.
Stuff like that. And I hope that obviously never get put in that situation, but it is something you got to think about. I do keep in my car though. I do keep like extra spare stuff or like clothes and things like that if we ever break down or they have an accident, obviously, or something like that.
So part of my plan is I'm bugging out with my dogs.
Okay.
So I have 3 days of dog food
that's a good
and
one,
3 little leashes in my bags. If I just got to run and dump them in a car, my dogs are coming with me.
Gotcha.
Because I in good conscience cannot leave my dog. I could leave a cat at home, but I cannot in good conscience leave my dogs at home.
And that's true. You know what? I didn't think about. See, you're giving me ideas too, because I don't have dog food or maps in here. So now I got to go out and get 2 more things for my bag here.
Well, one thing that people also know is that FEMA is now part of their plan if they're evacuating. So if you don't, say you didn't have your bug out plan and you don't know what to do and there's a natural disaster or some sort of man-caused disaster that's happening and FEMA is telling you to evacuate and they're telling you to go to a shelter, FEMA is now making shelters so they have a section with pets and a section without pets. Because what they were realizing is people who had pets were refusing to leave because they could not take their pets with them.
Yeah, and that's a huge issue too.
Yeah.
And the next podcast, I want to talk a little more about natural disasters that kind of feed off of this one.
Right.
And I definitely want to bring that up, and I'll make a note of that because we'll talk more about that too. But yeah, that is an issue. People not bringing their dogs.
Yeah, because I'm not leaving. If you tell me leave, but leave my dog, I'm going to be that guy. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, and
I got about 6 months of food in my basement, and I got the ability to defend it.
and that's what happens a lot of times. So
Yeah.
this is another protein bar. Feel these things, man. They're straight bricks. They're
Yeah.
like.
So this is also a weapon. It says orange.
That's
Looks good.
When this goes out of that, I need a little more flavor. That one can get
Yeah.
a little more in there.
Yeah. So and this thing has 52 carbs, and it's got 8 grams of protein. So it's good, and the shelf life on it looks like you're still good for a while on it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think they're 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
They're good for or something.
So what I tell people, we touched on it earlier, but I want to make sure we're clear on that, is when you're storing your food, whether it be in your house or in your bug out bag or in your vehicle for these types of situations, they make food that has shelf lives from 25 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, and then your typical canned foods. So one of the things that I think Anthony and I would recommend is you use all 3 of those and you start to rotate the canned foods out. So actually use them.
Yeah.
Get canned food you like. If you like Chef Boyardee ravioli, get Chef Boyardee ravioli. Don't just get baked beans. Get stuff you're going to like.
Yeah.
Because when the apocalypse happens and you're not having fun, there's nothing going on, one of the psychological boosts that there are is a good hot warm meal when you come back. So look for foods that you're actually going to like. Candy bars and so forth. Put them in those heat sealed, vacuum sealed bags, and that'll extend their shelf life.
Yeah, and just having it that you can fit it on your back, and
Yeah.
meals that you can survive, and learning. You're gonna have to learn to ration, and that's a whole other topic. But yeah, just being prepared with the food and having that, because like I said, food, water, and ammo. They're the 3 most important commodities during an end of world situation. Everything else is great to have in your bag, but if you don't have those 3, you're gonna be in for it quick.
Yeah, so that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. And just remember, we had Hurricane Irene, Superstorm Sandy, and there are people that I know personally that had gone a week without electricity. They couldn't get any gasoline from their gas station. Their standard stores, Wawa, Walmart, Costco, all those were closed or couldn't get deliveries into them, so they were left with what they had. And what I also found was a lot of the neighbors were working together, helping each other. Some people were driving and making ice runs. Some people were driving and making gasoline runs. Some people were driving and making food runs. So it was actually, it shows how people will come together. So make those plans, make those friends with your neighbors, with your friends, with your family, so you can have working it as a team.
Yeah, I like it. Last rule I'm going to end with here, because you just covered the buddy system, which was in there, the teamwork.
Cardio, wasn't cardio?
Yeah,
Zombie Land was.
Cardio's in there. Yeah, so that is a big one. Yeah, staying in shape, cardio, to get through the initial phases. The last one, wear your seatbelt. If you're gonna be traveling, wear your seatbelt.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's one of the main rules in there. And you think about, why? Because you know what? There's gonna be stuff on the road. There's gonna be people jumping out trying to wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
That's the last one you want to. Zombies jumping out trying to take you over.
That was actually in World War Z. No, well, not World War Z. It was in Walking Dead. There was one episode where she's driving, only car on the road, and she manages to overturn the car, and nobody's wearing the seatbelt. I'm like, I was shaking,
Wear your seatbelt, yes.
Yeah. And with our backgrounds, we've seen a lot of accidents where people who weren't wearing their seatbelts,
Yes.
and they became acquainted with that dashboard and that windshield in a hard, fast way that they didn't want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to keep yourself safe because you don't have urgent care, you don't have any of these facilities, so any minor injury could turn into the end of your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we covered a lot of things today, Anthony. We covered having a bug out bag. You can go on a lot of websites. You can reach out to either one of us, and we can kind of go over what we talked about today and give you some tips on a bug out bag. So you don't have to spend $200 on the first day. You buy the bag and buy a few things, and then every couple of weeks you just add to it, until you get it to where you want.
And a lot of stuff you can get at like the dollar store, like just matches, lighters, little stuff. It doesn't have to be this high grade stuff.
Yeah.
Just little duct tape. Things you can get literally at the dollar store.
Exactly. So again, be ready with Safety Man on RVN TV, on YouTube. Be ready with Safety Man anywhere podcasts are played, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, any other place. And then tell me how we can get a hold of you, Anthony.
So the best way to get a hold of me is on Twitter. You can get me at Eatahogie, EATAHOAGIE. You can hit me up on there, and if you got any questions, hit me up.
All right. Can I put a hoagie in my bug out bag?
Yeah, yes, that would be the hard thing, man. Trying to keep that.
Keep it preserved?
Yeah, keep that together.
Well, if the meats are processed, I should be good, right? All right, we're going to end on a high note. Thanks for listening. Come back soon. We're going to do hopefully one of these a month, and to keep you safe and keep you entertained. Be ready with Safety Man. Eat a hoagie on Twitter. Be safe. Be ready.